fiscal earnings are out. Turns out that, hey, they can't always sell more consoles every single quarter forever and ever. Their console sales are slowing down. Their console sales declined by 22% this fiscal year. And a lot of people have looked at this and were like, cool, new console. This is the time. Everyone has a fucking Switch. We need a new one.
I'm going to abandon you for 10 seconds. I need to blow my nose. Okay. You carry
on. So the company only sold just shy of 18 million units over the past 12 months. Nintendo apparently expects this decline to continue into its next fiscal year, which will end on March 31st, 2024, and is predicting another 16.5% decline, or around 50 million consoles that will be sold over that year. That is an obscene amount of consoles. I'm pretty sure Xbox had that number just as their normal number and not just their declining number.
I was with you the whole time.
In total, Nintendo sold 125 million Switch consoles since 2017 in 6 years. Just as a point of comparison, the PlayStation 5 has sold 38.4 million and has shipped 6.3 million consoles this last quarter, January to March. So PlayStation getting up there. The big talking point from these fiscal earnings were that everyone was kind of asking about new hardware.
Yeah.
But Nintendo has confirmed that no new hardware will ship this fiscal year, which means there will be no new Switch at the very least till April 2024.
Yeah.
Shuntaro Furukawa said to Bloomberg, sustaining the Switch's sales momentum will be difficult in its 7th year. Our goal of selling 15 million units this fiscal year is a bit of a stretch, but we will do our best to bolster demand going into the holiday season so that we can achieve that goal. No new Switch hardware till at least April. That doesn't mean they won't announce new hardware and launch it in
May,
summer of next year or the end of next year. I'm leaning more towards the end of next year now.
Yeah.
Because I really thought that they would do a Switch thing and do, early in the year and launch it. I don't see a middle of the year launch to be something that they would do. No. It would probably mean a holiday season release.
Yeah.
So another year and a bit with this current Switch, I think makes the most sense.
I mean, they said their goal of selling 15 million units is a bit of a stretch. And yeah, maybe it's a bit too much, but I still think the Switch is going to carry on selling.
It depends how because now the whole argument was that they didn't have any games beyond Pikmin in June because they hadn't announced a new Switch and the new Switch was coming end of this year. But now that it's not, they really need to bolster their holiday season if they want to hit that sort of target. In terms of releases, I don't know what they're going to put out.
I mean, Nintendo, it's funny because they do tend to keep their cards very close to the chest. Okay, I know Tears of the Kingdom we know is coming for a long time.
4 years, yeah.
But generally, Nintendo, they do directs in batches, and it is okay, here's a direct, and here's what's coming in the next 3 months, whatever. And it's, there's a new 100%. Kirby game. Oh, there's a new this. I do think,
usually it's the first time you've heard of those games as well.
Yeah. I do think, do they have anything planned for June, like a showcase or anything?
No, so, normally they would do an E3 direct, but a lot of the regular folk around all predict that there won't be one this year, which is, again, interesting because, they don't have anything beyond June in terms of, first-party exclusives. So...
I mean, they must have something planned, right, if the Switch isn't coming out for the next year. Look, I don't know. I still feel that a Mario is not off the table. I don't know if it'll be a brand new Mario. Maybe it'll be a port of an older one, but it feels like it's been a long time since we've had a Mario game.
I could see a port of sorts. I don't see a new mainline Mario now because then they don't have a Zelda or a Mario for the next Switch launch.
Why not a 2D Mario now and then a Mario Odyssey for the launch?
100%. I could see that.
Yeah,
I could definitely see that. Or they decide to put out a remaster of Galaxy 2.
Take my money.
Because they only had Galaxy 1 in that collection.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, you've still got the Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remasters that could definitely come out before a new Switch.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4 is definitely being held as a Switch.
Look at you thinking
thing.
Metroid Prime 4 is actually being developed.
Yeah, also that too, yeah. Yeah, who knows? A new Luigi's Mansion.
Give Luigi another mainline game. Let's go.
Luigi's Mansion 3 was fucking fantastic. I'll take it. Yeah, I don't know. I bet they put out a new Mario Kart on the new Switch. I think 8 is now like...
Yeah, 8 has been around for a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, 8 already existed before the Switch. It was just re-put onto the Switch and just continued selling. So I don't think they launch a new one before the Switch 2. I don't know. Maybe their plans for backwards compatibility with the Switch 2 are so broad that it doesn't actually matter. They can be like, cool, we'll put out a new Mario and a new Mario Kart now. Then when the Switch 2 launches, it's like, well, it's there. You can play that. You know, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose...
I guess sticking with that, Japanese company, I guess. Sharp is making LCD displays for a new console. They've just said a new console. So now a lot of people have immediately jumped to new Switch.
Yeah.
To which I say, boo that it's not OLED, but also there are so many fucking devices this could be for.
Yeah.
We are now in a gold rush of like handheld computers. Thanks to the Steam Deck, it could be for that. Like
for the Steam Deck too. You heard it, Jeff.
It could be for there's so many Japanese companies that might be wanting to do something similar, or at least companies that are contacting Sharp to make LCDs for their devices. Who knows?
Yeah. But they are making for a something, whether that's a Switch or a Sony console or any other third party. I don't mean third party, like an Asus or someone who've just released the ROG Ally or who are releasing the ROG Ally fairly soon. We don't know, like, but they are doing something for someone.
You see, what I don't understand is that the Sharp CEO Robert Wu basically said that the company will launch pilot LCD panel production lines for the new device during its current fiscal year ending March 2024. Now that lines up with Nintendo's one, but if they are putting that thing into production now, or production lines now, that console's being made. Like it's not like in a developmental stage still. It is like, we are using this.
Yeah.
We know we are using this panel. We are very close to, production.
Yeah.
But if Nintendo's not going to launch their new console till at least April, it makes no sense that production would be ramping up now, unless they are launching in fucking April. Like, then that makes sense. Sure. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to rationalize. I don't think this necessarily means this is the display. I think it's just very easy to extrapolate the two, given that this news came out a day after the Nintendo earnings, and people were like, they're like, ultra hand ability.
What a weird, what a weird coincidence. I mean, the following day. But I suppose keeping with handheld news, so we briefly mentioned the Asus ROG Ally, which I think we've touched on in the past. It's a new handheld which is meant to be a competitor to the Steam Deck. We did not have price initially. We were speculating like how much will it cost. Well, we finally know. I think the top of the range model is coming in at £699.
And dollars.
And
same
dollar.
Okay.
Price, What a time we live in where the pound and the dollar are like identical.
I'm sure the people in the UK are not stoked about that.
And I think the cheaper model's coming out later this year, and that will be 100 less, right?
It's 100 less, if I'm not mistaken. But that has like a less powerful processor. So if you're spending $600, just pay the $100 more.
But reviews for was it reviews or preview? It was reviews, right?
Reviews, because this is out now. Like you can buy this now. Yeah.
So they dropped this week, and I mean, you could probably speak to the more technical side of it, but from my understanding is that it's an impressive impressive piece of tech, like very powerful, but it's held back by things like battery life, the software itself, and a number of other things.
Yeah, I think I've read a couple of reviews and I've watched some videos, and it's interesting because there's a very different level of enthusiasm for the device and critique. Like The Verge, for example, was very critical of it. And they're the ones who brought up the battery life being really bad. Like it's got the exact same battery as the Steam Deck, but routinely wants you to operate it at a higher wattage, so it just lasts way less. And if you dial it back to the same power draw as the Steam Deck, which is 15 watts at maximum, it does outperform the Steam Deck, but not by much.
Okay.
So yeah, and then if you bring it back even less, like if you put it to 10 watts to try and conserve more battery life there, the Steam Deck actually outperforms it, which is fucking strange.
Weird,
it just means that this chip is not efficient at really low wattages.
Yeah.
But with that said, like if you are willing to compromise slightly on the battery life, the performance of this thing is unreal, apparently. Like it is leagues ahead of the Steam Deck when you give it enough juice. To the point where it's almost doubling the frame rate in some cases.
But in application, if I run this thing with all bells and whistles, how long is that battery going to last?
This is the thing. Again, it depends on the game you're playing, because other games will have higher power draws.
Yeah.
Well, they won't have higher power draws. You're limiting the power draw to the same thing, but like will require more power for the level of performance you deem acceptable. So yeah, I don't know. I think what's nice is that it is at a price that is actually comparable to the Steam Deck, where other devices like the Aya Neo and stuff were always like $1,000. So it was always easy to go, well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? This is within the ballpark. I mean, it is. It's like $50 more than the top range Steam Deck. So they are competing directly with each other. And I think this, with its, it runs Windows 11. And yes, the software that runs on top of it to try and make Windows 11 navigable with the controllers is bad. But you also have access to all of your launchers. You can play Game Pass on this. You can play.
You can get cool.
You can Battle.net. You can get Epic Game Store without any of the. You can do most of that on the Steam Deck bar Game Pass, but it's a hassle. Like I've done it. It is a hassle. Like no one's going to tell me that it's a smooth process. So there's pros and cons on each side, but it's good that there's competition, because I'm sure this makes Valve look at them and go, okay, well, what are they doing that we can take from that? So yeah,
that's what I was going to say, is that like I'm still on the fence about getting a PC handheld device. Like I'd love to get a Steam Deck or even this ROG Ally, but I don't know. It's one of those things where, can I justify spending $600, $700?
It's a lot of money. It's more than a Xbox or a PlayStation.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
But I'm grateful that both exist, because it does mean that hopefully, a third person will enter and a fourth person, and then they, all innovate over and above each other, and the space just becomes better and better. So
yeah,
like I'd love to know who's the next person who's the next mainstream competitor. Like which company is it? Like I don't know.
I was quite surprised Asus got involved and then had one out so quickly.
Exactly. I mean, it's I don't know. Did someone internally go like, oh hey, we could totally penetrate that space? Valve have the only thing we've got the means to offer a competitive alternate. Now who else is going? Like, I mean, I don't know.
I would bet money on Alienware getting involved. Dell and Alienware.
Yeah.
They've sort of tried this sort of concept for years now.
Yeah.
So maybe this is time for them to follow through. And I bet the other one that will get into the space very quickly is Razer. It just seems like their bread and butter, like to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
interesting. We'll see. Cool. Well, with hardware out the way, we can talk about other gaming news. This is an interesting one. So there's a new Mortal Kombat coming out. It's being teased for a while now. And we all thought it's Mortal Kombat 12, but it seems that we're all wrong, and it's actually a reboot called Mortal Kombat 1 because games
because
and
numbers have no fucking meaning anymore.
Just throw it out the window. Everything you know. I hate it when this happens. I really do.
We are at that point now where three games into your reboot, you just reboot again.
Yeah, so we're talking about this on our Discord. And just adding to it hasn't been officially confirmed, but Ed Boon,
it seems pretty.
Ed Boon tweeted actually a very cool teaser where it shows a clock counting from 11. You know, it's going to 12 and then it just stops for a moment and then bounces straight to 1. Like that's a pretty cool way to do that. But it's funny because we were saying Mortal Kombat 9, was back then kind of a reboot for Mortal Kombat. I remember a lot of the games before then were like not well received. So this rebooted the franchise and it retread the stories of the first 3 games through like time travel shenanigans. And now they're just rebooting it again. just
they're just like I mean they backed themselves into a corner with the ending of 11. 11 basically saw the entire timeline blown up. And what's his name? Liu Kang was basically just like, cool, I can rebuild this from scratch. And that was the end of the game. So it always seemed like they were going with this is all being reset again.
Yeah.
But to call it Mortal Kombat 1, like if it retreads the same story of island tournament, that would be silly. They should definitely go in a brand new direction now that they've afforded themselves the opportunity with the ending of 11. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, look, I'm invested in the story because the story modes of these games are what I enjoy playing. I don't like playing the multiplayer that much. But yeah, I'll play it.
The story modes are really just long CGI movies where you get to fight every couple of minutes, which is
they're like B grade martial arts movies where I get to interact.
A lot of fighting. Great. It's like, what'd you say about my mom? Let's fight. It's like, oh damn.
Yeah, exactly. And like you finish a fight and you turn your head and in frame a new person walks in, you're like, let's fight. And the person's like, whoa, I just came here to say hi.
That's literally how the story modes work, but I'm here for it. But just touching on that quickly, there's a report that claims that, I mean, again, I don't know where this comes from, but the report claims Mortal Kombat 1 DLC could include Peacemaker and Homelander.
That'd be sick.
Let me tell you, Peacemaker, cool, but Homelander this dude is made for the Mortal Kombat universe. It's the perfect, but you don't even have to change a thing.
They've already got the Superman model from Injustice, so
just slap on Homelander's face, make it more gory. That's cool. You there?
His fatalities would be fun.
Yeah.
Like I want him to like laser someone in half and then drink from a milk bottle.
Oh my God. I forgot about that. So weird.
Guys, so
when's the Boys season 4 coming out?
Can't wait. Oh my God.
In very sad news, we're going to pivot real hard. Hollow Knight Silksong has been delayed. This train had to, the fun train had to end for this new segment.
I guess it was kind of expected because everyone knew, based on that stupid Microsoft promise that they made at their showcase last year, everyone was like, well, it has to be out by June, and we are now like midway through May. Like it was bound to be. Yo, guys, it's so not happening,
So we got a tweet from Matthew Griffin. Who is he? One of the devs, I presume.
I think he's one of the marketing folk for Team Cherry.
Yeah. So just gave an update saying we had planned to release in the first half of 2023, but development is still continuing. We're excited by how the game is shaping up, and it's gotten quite big, so we want to take the time to make the game as good as we can. I mean, take your time. It's cool.
Do you know what's hectic is that it sounds so non-committal to a new release date. It's just like,
it's fine.
Is this even coming this year?
I don't envision coming this year, but
I was about to say I don't see it coming this year anymore, and that just fucking hurts me.
No, that's fine.
Just hurts me.
Speaking, well, no, not remake. Not that Silksong is a remake, but speaking of remakes. Insiders claim Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake to have PlayStation exclusivity, which would be
so there is there's a PlayStation showcase happening this month. I think Jeff Grubb said on the week of the May 21st, so within a week or so of now. We probably should get news this week of like a date,
Yeah.
PlayStation likes to announce that stuff about a week in advance. So, yeah, there's a bunch of insiders now that have said, at the showcase there's going to be a lot of Konami stuff. We're going to see like the beginnings of the reboot of Castlevania.
Nice.
We're going to see a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. We're going to see more of the remakes of Silent Hill, which have already been announced, and part of that will be an announcement that the Silent Hill remakes will be exclusive to PlayStation, at least for a time. And the same thing will be true for the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, which is a bit weird because MGS3 is on Xbox. It's part of the Metal Gear Solid collection that you can play there. So it's not like, oh, this has only ever been on PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I think PlayStation's done some good business and convinced Konami to be like, hey, you are getting back into this game now. Let's give you a bit more money and make these things exclusive to our platform for any given time.
What
the sort of shit that PlayStation really was worried Xbox would do. I'm just gonna say it, but
yeah. What makes me roll my eyes so hard here though is that I'm all in. Okay, give me a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. Cool. But then what happens if this is a huge success, which it probably will be if it's done well? Do they then reboot? Do they do it chronologically? They go, okay, shit. Okay, Metal Gear Solid 3 is actually like the first game in the whole story. I guess we gotta do Metal Gear Solid 5 next, and then
it's weird because like there were reports that MGS1 was getting a remake as well.
But why start with 3? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Because then you go, okay, we're gonna do 3, then we're gonna do 5, and then we're gonna do 1 and 2, and then 4.
I think if I'm not mistaken, Metal Gear Solid 3 is the best-selling one of the franchise.
I think so too. Look, I get it, but
why. But
it's just hilarious. Like, why? I suppose that's why they chose it. But it's just such a weird thing to me. Why not do the first one or even the second one?
Yeah. Let me just see.
Why not put Metal Gear Solid 4 on modern platforms so people like me can finally play it? It's the only one I've missed. That and Peace Walker.
Metal Gear Solid. Wow. Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, which is the PS2 one. Oh, in Japan, only 130,000 copies. I'm just trying to see. This is a very strange list. Okay, Metal Gear Solid 3 as a whole, 6 million. Metal Gear Solid 2, 8.5.
So then?
Metal Gear Solid 7.
So 3 is actually...
Metal Gear Solid 4, 6. And Metal Gear Solid 5, wow, 5 was way lower.
Really?
Oh, no, sorry. That was Ground Zeroes. Phantom Pain was 7. Okay.
Yeah.
So still not that great. Yeah, so 2 is the best-selling one.
I don't know. It's weird that they've gone with this one, if it's true.
3 is actually the worst-selling one.
Yeah, which is so weird.
No, sorry, 4 is the worst-selling one, but only by like 200,000, so it's like negligible.
I mean,
it's strange because 3 is definitely the best one of the franchise. Like no questions asked. Sure, interesting.
It's Snake Eater. You ready to climb that long ladder in HD?
Bro, I can't wait. When it's in 4K, I want to hear that song. I want to see every single piece of rust on that ladder.
I want to see Snake's cheeks up close.
Give me an infinite photo mode of just... Also, make that sequence 10 times longer.
Make the song 10 times longer as well.
Just make it half of the game is you climbing that ladder.
It's hilarious. I love that that's a meme.
Yeah, it's so good. Someone must have done the math on how high he climbed in that sequence. Like, I would love to know because it is ridiculous.
That's super high. Defies all logic. And then last piece of news for this week. Upcoming Annapurna game parts ways with Gone Home Studio following toxic workplace reports.
Yeah, I don't know. This is super strange. Fulbright, the developers of, hit games like Tacoma and Gone Home, like around 2 years ago, they were kind of rocked with a report that alleged their co-founder Steve Gaynor had kind of made the studio really, really toxic. He was a terrible person to work with. Lots of bullying and harassment. A lot of the co-founders of the studio have left. So a lot of the people who associate with Gone Home and Tacoma are no longer at Fulbright and haven't been for quite some time. Gaynor's, he stepped away from his management position and was strictly still a writer just at the studio, but he was still there. But now in a blog post that went up on May 12th, Gaynor says he's used the last 2 years to reflect and consider his working relationship with the Fulbright team, but also says the studio is no longer developing and representing Open Roads. That's the new game being published by Annapurna moving forward. And Annapurna Interactive is taking over the front-facing side of marketing. There's no real indication in the post whether this was like an amicable thing, like they just decided they didn't want to be associated with it, or like if Annapurna was like, fuck this, things are still bad at the studio, we are taking action, so yeah.
What game is this? Open Road, sorry. Okay, I think I actually remember seeing this. Okay. So yeah.
Gaynor goes on to say he was unhappy in his managerial role and said that factored into his behavior towards employees at Fulbright. Okay. Despite this, he still is working on a solo project under the company name. So Gaynor and Fulbright are still very much one and the same. But yeah, like I said, it's not the same studio that made, many of the games that it is known for now. So yeah. Bummer.
What a way to end news.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah. Good. I think good just life advice in general.
Good life advice, yeah.
Just don't be a dick. I mean, it's not hard.